स्वाध्याय टीवी डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी।
Namaste dear students, I Dr. Himanshu Patel welcome you from the Chaitanya studio of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University. We are in lecture series on mobile application development in Android. Before we start, let us have look at the content of last lecture. In last lecture, we have learned how to share data between application with content providers, and we have discussed many built-in content providers provided by Android operating system. Our today's topic is networking API in Android. So, let us start. Now, why we should use networking components in our application? The reason is application are far more dynamic and content rich if we use networking component than application that are not using these networking components. So, we use networking API to deliver fresh and updated content to the user, then to enable social networking features, then to do background heavy processing for high powered server, and lastly to enable data storage beyond what the user can achieve on the device. A large database cannot be stored on the device. So, what we can do is we can have separate database server from where user can query his data required. So, all these reasons are motivation for using networking APIs in our application. When you write down mobile networking application, you have to keep in mind certain things, because your mobile may be not in coverage area, the server may be down. There are so many reasons that your application not work properly. So, you have to plan for less stable connectivity than one might expect in home or office networking setup. In generally in office or in home, we have a stable connectivity through wired network is available, but in case of mobile we have wireless connectivity, and the connectivity depends on the location of the user and the device he used. But users demand stable and responsive applications. This means that you must take extra care when designing network enabled application. Even though there is a connectivity problem, your application might suggest user that these are the problem that might cause your application to down. So, you have to keep in mind all these points while designing mobile networking application. Android provides us a number of tools and classes for ensuring stable application. So, what are the various features available in Android for networking? Let us have look. The first is a HTTP protocol. As we know, it is the most common way to transfer data to and from the network, and HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. We can use HTTP to encapsulate almost any type of data, and we can secure our data using secure socket layer or SSL, which is also known as a HTTPS, that means HTTP SIC. HTTP normally runs on port 80. All most common ports used by HTTP are typically open from the phone network also. So, there is not an issue using HTTP protocol in mobile network. But what you have to remember is you have to include one permission for using internet in your application, that is android.permission.internet. You must include these line in your manifest file in order to use internet enabled application. So, remember this. Now, we can read data from the web. there are two possibilities. One, you can use URL class, another you can use HTTP URL connection class. Now, what is difference between these two? You can use URL class, which is available as a part of the java.net package, is used to read a fixed amount of text from a file on the web server. That means, when your data to be read is a very small, you can use this URL class. But normally for downloading long data which take very much long time, you must use HTTP URL connection, because you must know what is the length of data before downloading it. So, that facility is not available in URL class. So, for that reason you can use this HTTP URL connection class. Now, other advantage of this is you can know other information such as length of the content, content type, date and time information change, so that you can check to see if the data change since the last time you access the URL. So, these kind of additional information you can get through these HTTP URL connection class. So, it is recommended that we must use HTTP URL connection class, although you can use URL class for reading small amount of data. XML is nowadays standard for exchanging data on web. So, large portion of the data transmitted between network resource is stored in a XML format or structured fashion in extensible markup language format, which is known as a XML. So, we can say XML is a standard that is used to exchange data in web and particularly in web services. So, Android provide facility to parse these XML data. It is a provide us with a fast and efficient processor known as a XML pool parser, which is a parser of choice for network application. So, whenever you want to retrieve XML data or you want to manipulate these XML data stored on web, you can always use this XML pool parser for processing XML data which is available on web. Android provides us with two way for processing data in a background. Generally, networking involves large amount of downloading data. So, these tasks must be performed in background, so that it does not block the main user interface thread. So, that is why your application becomes more responsive if you are using asynchronous processing. So, asynchronous processing is supported by Android in two ways. First is using asynchronous task class and another is to use standard Java thread class. We know that in Java there is a support for thread class, which you can use for performing background task using thread, but Android provide one more facility called asynchronous task class, which you can also use to perform your processing in background, so that your application is more responsive to user. So, how to do this? Let us learn. Now, when you use asynchronous task, instead of using thread for background processing, you have to extend one class which is a known as a asynchronous task, ASYNCTASK, and you have to implement its methods. Now, there are 4 methods that you must override to do necessary coding. The first method is on pre-execute. These method can runs on user interface thread before background processing begins. So, suppose you want to perform something before actual background process starts, you can always write down that code inside this on pre-execute method. Another method is do in background method. As its name suggests, you can handle background processing in this method, and then you can have publish progress method, which informs the user interface thread periodically about the background processing progress, so that you can inform user also. And last method is on post execute. Now, this method runs on user interface thread to give a final update or completion of your processing informed by these method to user. So, these method you have to override when extending this asynchronous task class to perform background processing. We learn how to use thread also, and these asynchronous task you have to perform yourself the same program that we discussed. Before we start uploading or downloading or connecting to remote places, we must check network status. The Android SDK provides utilities for gathering information about the current status of the network. That means, you have connectivity available or not, or similar things. So, network status checking is most important activity before doing your processing. This is useful to determine if network connection is even available before trying to use a network resource. So, you must check whether connectivity is available, then you can start your processing. So, it is very useful to check networking status. Now, how to do this? So, for that Android provides one class which is called as a connectivity manager class, which provides number of method to check whether internet connection is in which state, whether it is connecting, whether it is connected, whether it is disconnected, whether it is waiting, etc. So, these kind of information you can know using this connectivity manager class. So, we discuss some of the facility provided by Android. For example, how to use HTTP, how to use URL class, how to use HTTP connection URL class, how to perform asynchronous processing using thread and asynchronous task class, etc. Now, we write down one application. What is application is to download image and text file from a server, and we check whether internet connection is available or not before downloading these files using connectivity manager, and we do this using thread message and message handler, and you have to write down same exercise using asynchronous task. So, let us start how to do this. So, I have write down one Android application already to download image and text file from the server. So, here on screen you can see our interface. Our interface just display one text message, another text message using text view, and we have two buttons. One is to download image and display it below image view, that you can see here is our image view, and there is a one button with caption download text file. When user press or click on this button, we display text file read from server in below text view, that you can also see highlighted on our user interface. So, this is all about our user interface. There are three text view, two are static, one is dynamic, two buttons are there, one to download image and another to download text file. Here, as I mentioned earlier, in manifest file you have to include permissions for these. So, first we discussed manifest file. I double clicking on this manifest file. Here in last we write down permissions required in order to run this application. There are two permissions I have mentioned. First is a permission to use web or internet, which is android.permission.internet, and another permission required is to access network state. So, these permission, second permission access network state is required because we want to first check whether internet is available. If it is available, then we download these files, and otherwise we inform user that internet connection is temporarily not available. So, you can try later on also. So, remember these two permissions are required in order to run these application. Now, we have also discussed our user interface, the permission required. The next part is our activity file. So, here is our activity file. Now, we know that how this interface works. So, let us try to understand coding part. So, main activity.java file is a file that represent our activity for downloading image and text file and display it in text view or image view based on data that we have received. So, let us understand these activity file. Here we have declared one progress dialog. This progress dialog is displayed while downloading is in progress, so that user knows that the downloading is currently running. So, for that we have used progress dialog, and the name of object is also progress dialog. We have one bitmap object is required to fetch our image stored on server. So, we have declared one bitmap object which initialized to null initially. Then, as in design time we discussed, we have two buttons. For referring those buttons, we have two objects B1 and B2. Then there is a variable called text of type string, which is initialized to empty initially, and inside this text string we fetch that text file and display it in our text view, which is available in design time. So, these are the global objects that we require in order to run this application. If we look at inside on create, you will found first we set our content view to our layout file. So, set content view we already know. Then these two lines refers to our buttons in design time, and here we implement its on click listener method, so that we can check inside this click event what to do when this button is pressed. So, if we look at this code on click, public void on click. So, first button is our download image button. So, here I write down one method called check network connection, which returns true if internet is available, and if it is returns false, it means internet is right now not available. So, if internet is available, I have write down another method called download image, and inside download image you have to provide your URL or location of your image. So, here is a location where I store my image, and I have passed this location inside download image method that I write down myself, and if these returns false, then else part is executed, and inside else part we write down internet is not connected. So, that user know that oh, I have to connect internet first in order to download this image, and if it is available, it will just display progress bar and download image, and when downloading finished, progress bar disappears. So, this is how our button click event works. Similarly, when second button is pressed, I have another functions called download text file, and it behaves exactly same, but the processing is different. Here we also supply location of text file as a URL, and it downloads text file and display in text view, and if internet is not available, so it displays message internet is not connected. So, in either case we first check whether network connection is available or not, and if it is available, we try to download image or text file depending on user click, and if it is internet is not available, we just display message internet is not connected. So, first we understand these method check network connection. Now, as we discussed earlier, the connectivity manager class is used to check connection. So, let us first look at it, check network connection. So, here is our method check network connection. Now, how it works? So, you can see that we have one object called connection of type connectivity manager, and you can create instance of connectivity manager using get system service method, and inside get system service method you have to provide service that you want to obtain. So, here I write down get base context dot connectivity services. So, it returns or points to network connection services, and now using method of this connection object which is of type connectivity manager, you can retrieve all network information. So, we have to first declare one object of type connectivity manager and create instance using get system service method, which takes one argument which points to our connectivity services. Now, we have these objects available. You can retrieve all connections available using its method get all network info. Now, you might have connectivity from more than one source also. So, you can use this method to retrieve all network which is right now available. So, here I declare array of network info class and retrieve all network information inside this info object. Now, we can loop through this info object for all network available, and we write down its method get state to check whether it is connected or not. So, every network information available we call its get state method for all the network available and check whether its states is a connected. So, if it is a connected, we display in toast internet is connected, and we return true. That means, now we return, we need not to check another source because one source is connected to internet. So, we return true, and if we loop down through all these information and we have not written, it means no network is connected to internet. So, in last line we write down return false, which means no source is connected to internet. So, this is our first method that we have used inside this button click event. Now, let us look at it download image method that actually downloads image. Now, these activity represent our main thread. So, we implement this download image and download text file as a thread. So, how to do this? Let us learn. First, we discuss download image method. So, here you can see we have write down code for download image, and here we return in URL str we get value which points to our file. So, very first line that we write down in this function is a displaying progress dialog. So, we have progress dialog object that we can show using static method of progress dialog class called show. The first is a context, second is a title, and third is a message. So, here we display message that we are downloading image from source that is provided. So, first line just display one progress dialog that displays we are downloading image from this source. Then we create instance of thread runnable object rather. So, here we create new thread and implements its run method. Now, you can not run thread which can process user interface. So, here in run method we declare one message object, and we can always create message object using obtain method. So, first we create one message object, then next line is message dot what property. So, we set message property to 1. This is you can say ID for message. So, inside run method we first create message using obtain method and we set its ID or identification to 1. Next we create object of input stream using method open HTTP connection and we provide whatever URL we have to this method open HTTP connection that I write down separately for better understanding. So, assume that we have this input stream is now available which points to this file URL str. So, now what we can do is we can read this input stream to fetch our image data and then we can display this data in image view. So, here I write down method bitmap factory dot decode stream and provided input of input stream to this method. So, it will create one bitmap object from this input stream. Remember this bitmap is of type bitmap that we have discussed earlier. Now, we want to display this bitmap inside image view. So, this thread cannot directly update our user interface. So, what we can do is we have created one message object. So, inside message object we pass this bundle object and inside bundle we place this bitmap. So, we write down b dot put parcel label. The first is a key which is known as a bitmap and second is a value which is a bitmap that is downloaded and we set this bundle inside message using set data method and finally, we close this input stream. Now, to actually update user interface we write down message handler dot send message. So, this message handler class must be write down separately to which is of type handle and these send message will call handle message method of handler class. So, first we look at this message handler. So, let us go to this message handler. So, here you can see it is of object type handler and inside message handler we create instance of new handler and write down method called handle message and here you receive message sent by send message method. So, inside these we write down if message dot what is 1, that means we have downloaded bitmap. So, here we take reference of image view and we then set image bitmap as a bitmap. But remember this bitmap is put inside message as a parcel label object using set data method. So, here we write down message dot get data dot get parcel label and remember our key name is a bitmap and its value is a bitmap. So, these represents bitmap and this bitmap is set to our image view with name img and once it is displayed properly we can dismiss our progress dialog. So, we write down progress dialog dot dismiss. So, entire flow works like these. First we check network connection, then we try to download image and inside image first we create progress dialog and then we create message connect to input stream. We retrieve in bitmap from input stream, put inside bundle, this bundle it put inside message and this message is sent to message handler where this bitmap is separated and displayed in image view. So, this is how entire download image process finished. Next we learn how to download text file. So, if you see this download text file is a method which accepts URL of our file as a input. So, let us go to download text file method. Now, here some of the coding remains same. First we create progress dialog to display message that we are downloading file from these location, and then again we create one message object, but this time we set its ID to 2. In first case we set its ID to 1. We have also acquire input stream by opening HTTP connection using this method, which we have not discussed so far, but you can assume that we have open connection with this server and get its input stream. So, here we get input stream from source, but here I create object of type reader. Why this reader object is required? So, you cannot read large file entirely. So, what we can do is we can read 200 character at a time. So, this reader object supports that method. So, I have created reader object by creating instance of new input stream reader, and its source is our input stream, and encoding used is a UTF-8. So, this reader object points to input stream, but now what is facility is we can read this file in a chunks of 200 characters. So, here is a you can say buffer object, which is a array of character, and at a time we want to read 200 character. So, I have created new character and its size is a 200. Initially we set text object to blank. Now, we want to read this file in chunks. So, I call method reader.read, and we want to read this data inside buffer, which is of size 200. Now, this method returns -1 if it encounters end of file. So, we write down while loop that we want to read entire file at a time 200 characters, and we want to continue this process until end of file. So, here we write down reader.read, inside that we write down buffer. So, that it reads in this buffer and this process continues until end of file is encountered, and we place these read data or append this data to text. So, 200 character is readed and append to text, and this process continues until entire file is read. Finally, we call this reader.close and in.close method to close our stream, and we send message to message handler to update our user interface with text. So, here in if message.what is equal to 2, then we have to take reference of our text view, and we have to set its text to whatever text file read, and finally, we have to dismiss or close our progress dialog when file is displayed in text view. So, this is how handler works, but here we have to discuss this method open HTTP connection URL. Remember, this method is responsible for establishing connection with server and connecting with its input stream. So, let us look how this open HTTP connection method return works. So, here we have this method open HTTP connection, and argument is a URL in form of string, and it returns input stream. So, inside this we write down initially input stream is null. As we discussed earlier, HTTP URL connection also provides many information such as the length of content, whether content is in proper format or not, etc. So, here we declare one variable result code or response code, which is point to -1. Now, we write down these try catch, because when you return input stream, there may be IO exception or any other exception occurs. So, we write down entire code inside try catch. First, we create one object of type URL which points to URL in form of string. So, these URL object points to URL which is a physical location of our resource. Next, we create HTTP connection object of type HTTP URL connection, and we write down URL dot open connection. Remember, open connection is a method of URL class and it tries to open that connection. So, our connection is whatever our server, folder and file name is, it tries to open that, and these connect method try to connect with our URL, and you can use this method HTTP connection dot get response code to check whether there is a error in connecting or not. So, in resource code, if we receive this constant which is called HTTP OK, it means our connection established is OK. Now, you can read data from that connection. So, we initialize input stream to HTTP connection dot get input stream methods input stream returned. So, this is how we first create URL object, then we create HTTP connection HTTP URL connection object, we try to connect with URL, we get response code. If response is OK, we acquire its input stream using get input stream method, and finally, we return input stream that we have received. For example, some error is generated while connecting with these URL, whether that URL is written wrong or server is not available. So, these error is catch inside this catch block and we return input stream as a null. So, this is how you can establish connection with remote server and acquire its input stream, which can be used to read our data, which may be image or which may be text, etc. So, this is how our entire code is written. Now, we want to test this code inside emulator. So, I am start this application inside emulator by pressing run app button. So, I am just pressing run app button on our Android Studio. Here on screen you can see our application is running and it displays to text view, and here I press download text file button. So, you can see internet is connected, toast is displayed and the text file is downloaded and display inside this text view. Next, we want to download image. So, I am just pressing this download image button and you can see this progress bar initially displayed, image is displayed and toast is also displayed that internet is connected. So, this is how you can download image and text file. So, let us summarize what we have learned today. Today, we learned that application can use networking to enhance and improve features they can provide to user. Next, we have also learned application developer need to design and implement networking features carefully to ensure a stable and responsive application. And last, we have learned how to read image and text data from web and know network status. Next, you have to write down same application using asynchronous task class that we have discussed in theory. I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you and happy learning.
स्वाध्याय टीवी